What is it that makes one man command obedience, while another is crushed beneath contempt? It is not strength alone, nor wisdom, nor even fortune. Many have possessed these and still fallen into ruin. The secret lies in a darker art, the ability to project certainty when the soul trembles, to stand as though fate itself bends to your will. Men do not follow truth. They follow conviction, even when it is a mask. And those who master this illusion wield a power more dangerous than steel. Would you dare to uncover how such confidence is forged? Confidence, in its truest and most dangerous form, is rarely born from certainty. It is crafted, sculpted, and projected with precision. Men imagine that the confident are free of fear, that they stride through life immune to doubt. This is a pleasant illusion, but a false one. Even the boldest heart trembles at times. Even the strongest hand quivers in secret. Yet what separates the master from the herd is not the absence of fear, but the discipline to wear a mask so flawless that none can perceive what lies beneath. This mask of certainty is more potent than any weapon, for men do not follow truth, they follow conviction. Consider how easily the human spirit is swayed by appearances. The masses do not peer into the hidden chambers of your mind. They only witness the face you present to them. If that face reveals hesitation, even the faintest shadow of uncertainty, you grant your rivals the opening to strike. But if your eyes are steady and your voice unwavering, even when your heart beats with unrest, you create the impression of mastery. And in this world, perception is power. The appearance of certainty compels obedience more reliably than truth ever could. It is for this reason that the man who can command his own fears becomes the commander of others. For when men are lost in confusion, they search desperately for someone who seems to know. They will overlook their own instincts, abandon their own doubts, and entrust themselves to the one who projects assurance. It is not wisdom they crave, but stability. Thus, a man need not be right to lead, he must only appear certain. Confidence, then, is not about the possession of knowledge, but about the ability to silence the visible signs of doubt. Yet one must be careful not to mistake this mask for empty arrogance. The mask of certainty is not mere boastfulness, for boastfulness betrays insecurity. It is a quiet, steady force, an unyielding demeanor that reveals nothing of inner turmoil. The loud man who insists upon his greatness exposes his need for validation. The dangerous man is calm, as though he knows the outcome already bends to his will. Such composure unsettles others, for it denies them any glimpse into weakness, leaving them with no anchor but the belief that you cannot be shaken. To wear this mask requires discipline, for every nerve in your body will at times cry out for release, for the confession of fear, for the comfort of reassurance. But you must deny yourself this indulgence. The world will never grant mercy to the man who exposes his trembling hand. Better to master your breath, still your voice, and let your silence suggest strength where none exists. Over time, this performance does more than convince others. It convinces yourself. In playing the role of certainty, you begin to embody it, and fear itself grows silent. Dangerous confidence begins where doubt is hidden and certainty is displayed. Doubt is a poison that weakens most men, but to the shrewd it becomes a weapon. The timid allow hesitation to chain them, waiting for certainty, waiting for reassurance, waiting for the perfect moment that never arrives. They die 1,000 small deaths before they even act. Yet the man who understands the art of confidence knows that hesitation is not his burden, but his enemy's. Where others pause, he advances. Where others question, he declares. It is in this decisive movement that power is seized, for the world belongs not to those who are correct, but to those who appear convinced. Observe how doubt spreads like a contagion in any gathering, one uncertain word, one faltering gesture, and the crowd begins to waver. But when a man stands firm, when he speaks with clarity and command, even without proof, he arrests the infection of hesitation. His voice silences the whispering fears of others, and soon their minds submit to his. They begin to repeat his words, to defend his judgments, to cloak his errors as though they were truth. This is the true alchemy of dangerous confidence. It transforms the uncertainty of the many into the obedience of the whole. It is not that the confident man is untouched by doubt. No one escapes it. But he has learned to conceal it and turn it outward. He plants hesitation in the minds of rivals, forcing them to second, guess themselves, to wonder whether their caution is wisdom or cowardice. When they hesitate, they yield space, they surrender opportunity, they retreat into self, questioning while he advances into action. The balance of power is tipped not because he was right, but because he dared to act while others delayed. Hesitation kills authority. To falter before others is to show them a wound, and men are quick to strike at exposed weakness. But a declaration made with confidence, even when born from uncertainty, places the burden of doubt upon those who hear it. They begin to think, perhaps he knows what I do not. Perhaps his boldness springs from knowledge hidden to me. Their suspicion of their own judgment grows, and they abandon their ground in order to stand upon his. This is why doubt must never be carried openly. To confess uncertainty is to invite betrayal, to beg others to exploit you. Instead, let your words be firm, your tone steady, your posture unshaken. Even if you stand upon shifting ground, give no indication of it. For men follow boldness more readily than truth, and they fear hesitation more than they fear error. He who masters the concealment of doubt does not merely protect himself, he places all others at his mercy. The man who conquers hesitation conquers men. True confidence becomes dangerous only when it ceases to depend on the permission of others. Most men live as slaves to opinion, bending their sense of worth to the applause or ridicule of the crowd. They rise when they are praised, they collapse when they are mocked. Such men may seem confident, but their courage is borrowed, their strength fragile, and their authority fleeting. The confidence that commands fear and loyalty is of another kind. It is born from ruthless self-belief, an inner sovereignty that neither flattery can inflate nor criticism can diminish. The man who possesses this iron certainty does not ask if others agree with him. He does not measure his worth by the voices of approval, nor does he allow scorn to pierce his armor. His belief in his own vision is absolute, and from this flows a terrifying power. For those who are immune to judgment unsettle the entire order of society, which is built upon the exchange of validation. When men realize they cannot sway you with either praise or contempt, they no longer know how to disarm you. In their confusion, they begin to submit. It is this indifference that gives rise to authority. The dangerous man does not seek to be loved, for love is fragile and fickle. He does not fear being hated, for hatred burns itself out in time. Instead, he commands by projecting that he needs neither. His confidence is not rooted in the shifting sands of opinion, but in the unshakable foundation of his own will. He moves as though the world itself must bend to accommodate him, and often it does. For men admire such resolve, even as they resent it, and in time they follow it. This ruthless self-belief is not arrogance, for arrogance still craves recognition. It shouts to be acknowledged. The truly dangerous confidence is quieter, colder, and far more impenetrable. It is the certainty of a man who looks upon opposition not as an obstacle, but as a minor irritation, incapable of diverting him from his course. Such a presence does not need to boast, for its weight is felt without words. People sense it in his calm, in the steadiness of his eyes, in the lack of concern he shows for their approval. And this unnerves them, for they are accustomed to men who live for acceptance. Yet let there be no mistake, this self-belief is not gifted, it is forged. It is shaped through struggle, through failures endured and overcome, through the hardening that comes from standing alone and refusing to bend. Only when a man has learned to stand without support does he acquire the power to lead with dangerous confidence. The one who no longer seeks permission holds the world in his grasp. It is a mistake to believe that reality alone governs men. What rules them more often is perception, for the mind does not follow truth as faithfully as it follows appearance. To command others, you need not always possess strength, wisdom, or certainty. You must only be seen as possessing them. The secret lies not in what you are, but in what you can make others believe you to be. In this theater of human affairs, perception becomes the stage upon which power is displayed, and confidence is the mask that convinces the audience. Men crave reassurance more than truth. They want to believe that someone holds the answers, that someone stands firm where they cannot. If you project certainty, they will accept it as reality, even when built upon nothing but smoke. Appearances grow into facts, because men adjust their actions not to the truth, but to the impression of it. Thus, the man who seems unshakable gains followers, while the one who hesitates, even if wiser, stands alone. Understand that this deception is not fraud, but strategy, for perception, once established, has a force of its own. If men believe you are strong, they will treat you as strong. If they believe you are destined to prevail, they will bend before you rather than resist. Soon, what began as illusion hardens into reality, for their submission creates the very power they imagined you already possessed. Yet this control demands discipline. Appearances must be tended like a fire, kept alive with careful gestures and deliberate restraint. A single careless crack, a slip of doubt or weakness, can undo what months of composure have built. You must therefore guard your image more jealously than your possessions, for men will forgive the loss of wealth more easily than the loss of faith in your certainty. The truly dangerous confidence lies in mastering this subtle art, shaping what others see until they cannot separate illusion from truth. To the world, you must remain the figure who does not falter, whose presence quiets doubts, whose words carry inevitability. Whether your heart quakes or your mind questions is irrelevant. What matters is that no trace of it escapes your mask. In time, you will find that perception does more than sway others, it reshapes you. When enough men believe you are unshakable, you begin to feel it yourself. Their faith becomes your armor, their submission your proof, until illusion and reality are no longer distinct. He who commands appearances commands the world. Most men are paralyzed by the weight of risk. They calculate endlessly, weighing consequences, measuring outcomes, waiting for certainty before they act. But in this endless waiting, they let opportunities rot in their hands. They wither in hesitation, dying small, quiet deaths long before their enemies ever strike them. The dangerously confident man, however, treats risk as a stage upon which he displays his boldness. For him, danger is not an obstacle, but a proving ground. It is the arena where the timid will not enter, and therefore it becomes his alone to command. Understand this: fortune does not favor the cautious. She is impatient with hesitation, contemptuous of weakness, and loyal only to those who dare to grasp her violently. Men who wait for safety are abandoned by her, for she despises delay. The dangerously confident step into risk with decisive force, seizing what others only dream of attempting. They know that even if they fall, their boldness leaves an impression that lingers in the minds of allies and enemies alike. Fearful men inspire nothing. Bold men, even in failure, inspire awe. Risk is not merely chance, it is theater. The world watches how you approach uncertainty. Step timidly, and they will doubt you. Step boldly, and they will believe you are destined to triumph. This belief is often enough to tilt the balance in your favor, for perception creates momentum, and momentum creates victory. By daring more than others, you impose your will upon them before the outcome is even decided. Consider that no empire, no throne, no dominion was ever won by hesitation. The men who shaped the course of history were those who seized risks others recoiled from. They understood that timidity kills faster than danger itself. For while the cautious man hides, life passes him by. But the one who dares, even against impossible odds, bends fortune to his side. The secret, then, is not recklessness, but resolve. The dangerously confident man does not leap blindly into every peril, but once his course is chosen, he commits to it with such ferocity that others cannot distinguish courage from certainty. His enemies are unsettled not by the logic of his actions, but by the force with which he embraces them. Risk in his hands becomes less a gamble and more a declaration of will, that he will not be ruled by fear, but will rule through it. The timid man dies in obscurity. The dangerously confident makes risk his crown. There is a confidence that roars loudly, demanding recognition, boasting of victories before they are won. But such displays are brittle, and their noise betrays fragility. The confidence that is truly dangerous does not shout, it whispers. It cloaks itself in silence, in restraint, in the unsettling calm of mystery. Men are unnerved not by what they can see, but by what they cannot measure. When they are left uncertain of your strength, they will imagine it greater than it is, and in their imagination your power multiplies. Mystery is a shield and a sword. It protects you from envy, for arrogance draws enemies, while silence breeds speculation. It sharpens fear, for men are more terrified of the unknown than of the visible threat before them. When you do not reveal the limits of your confidence, they cannot prepare their defenses. They are left to wonder, how deep does his strength run? How far does his reach extend? How certain is his resolve? In their uncertainty, they hesitate, and hesitation is the space where domination begins. Restraint, then, is not weakness, but strategy. To reveal everything about yourself is to surrender control. To remain unreadable is to hold others in your grasp. A calm expression, a measured word, a silence where explanation is expected, these things unsettle more than endless boasts or proclamations. For men are accustomed to pride, they are not accustomed to mystery, and what they cannot grasp they fear. The dangerously confident man understands that his presence alone can be a weapon. He does not need to convince with endless argument or parade his strength for all to see. He allows his silence to do the work, his composure to spread unease, his restraint to deepen curiosity. In time, others fill the silence with their own imaginings, attributing to him powers he does not even possess. And once they believe it, their belief itself becomes his power. This is why the most dangerous confidence is not flamboyant but concealed, not noisy but steady, not arrogant but impenetrable. It is a presence